Okay, today we're playing the King Master Chess Computer on level 72. I am black this time. We'll start out here. White goes with the queen pawn opening. We'll just kind of go through it here. I choose to bring my bishop out here. Basically, I'm just trying to develop my pieces as early as I can here. I already have a idea of what I'm going to do here. I've played against the computer long enough to know that when he does the queen pawn opening, he's going to be castling kingside eventually. And so I know that if I focus my attack on the king side and pretty much abandon the queen side, that I'll have a good shot at mating white. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. You may wonder why I take the knight here. Well, I'm just kind of trying to clear some of my pieces out of the way, eliminate some of his pieces so I can then focus my remaining pieces on the kingside attack. So bring out my knight. He's just developing his pawns now. He has pretty good center control. It's actually about even. Bring out my other knight. And he brings out his bishop here. Bring my bishop up. Now at this point, I intend on using my bishop along this diagonal here eventually. So moving it up one square didn't really help me too much. But basically, I cannot commit to my attack on the king side until white is castled. So I kind of have to just kind of make moves to delay my eventual kingside attack, which will be signified by my h-pawn being moved. So white moves his knight up. Now I move my c-knight over here to e7. My intention obviously is going to be to either bring it over here onto f5 or to g6. White goes ahead and castles. Now I know that I'll be able to focus on my on the kingside attack here. And that being said, I go ahead and move my knight over here to g6. Now, what's interesting to look at here is where his bishop is. His bishop would normally take that knight. However, I would actually prefer that because I would obviously capture back with my h-pawn, and that would open up this file here, which would allow my rook to then attack along the h-file, which is definitely what I want to do. My rook is going to be an attacking piece, my queen, and then obviously as many knights and pawns that I can get down there as well, along with that bishop perhaps. So he's not going to take that knight right now because that's not going to be advantageous for him. He goes ahead and moves his bishop up here to a3. Now this is great for me because his intention here is going to be for me to castle, and then at which time he could then either attack my knight or he could attack he can move his c-pawn to c6, which would be a discovered attack on my rook once I've castled, and then I would either have to lose my rook or I'd have to lose my bishop to his pawn. So castling would just be an absolute blunder at this point for me. But the beauty is that I don't intend on castling. So a move like bishop to a3 is based on the idea that I'll be castling, which I'm not going to. So really that's a wasted move for white, and just allows me to continue with my initiative on my kingside attack. So right there, that being said, I see that move from white, so right away I go with h5, and I'm going to advance my pawn down here to begin the attack on his kingside. Now this is kind of a tricky little move for white here. You see he's attacking the b7 pawn, and he's also now along the same diagonal as this bishop, which can then attack my knight on g6. obviously, if the only piece I can take it with would be my pawn, and then he would capture the pawn with this queen, put me in check, and that's going to pretty much spoil my kingside attack at that point. So clearly White's next move is either going to be to capture this b-pawn or to capture this knight. And I know if I didn't move the knight, he would capture the knight. So I move the knight here to h4. Now this may look like a bad move because I'm essentially offering it up to his knight, but that's what this whole attack is about. The whole attack is about sacrificing certain pieces to clear the way for a legitimate attack on his king side. I'm actually willing to sacrifice both knights for just a pawn if it comes down to it, because I know that I can still mate White with a rook, a queen, and a bishop, because really he has no pieces here to defend his king other than just a couple pawns and this knight. So I have no problem throwing a lot of pieces at White, sacrificing some of them in order to accomplish my end attack here.